The girl left her relatives and headed to her house, which was only a few minutes away. However, she never made it home, and the police began searching for her. The events that rapidly developed in the following days led to the fact that this story immediately became one of the most discussed in the country. Its details are so shocking that it is very difficult to believe what is happening. And with each new fact, this case becomes more and more alarming. Lily Peters was born on November 4, 2011 in the small American town of Chippewa, Wisconsin. Her parents divorced when she was young, and Lily lived with her father. Nevertheless, the mother often saw her daughter and tried to take an active part in her life. Lily was a typical cheerful child. She loved being outdoors, playing with friends, and also loved riding her bike. The town in which she lived was small and quite safe, so her father sometimes let her ride around the neighboring streets. Lily usually went to visit her aunt, who lived only a few hundred meters from her house. On April 24, 22, when the girl was 10, she decided to ride a bicycle and ride to her aunt's house. Having asked her father for leave, Lily left at about 1500 hours. A few hours later, her father began to worry because the girl was supposed to return home. He called his sister, Aunt Lily, but she said that the girl had left the house on her bicycle about an hour ago. A man immediately realized that something bad could happen to his daughter. His sister's house was only a few minutes away, and before leaving, he told the girl to go home immediately afterward. The father called the parents of her friends, hoping that her daughter decided to visit one of them, but no one saw her. Then he contacted his relatives and friends, after which they all went in search. They searched for the girl along the route from her aunt's house, after which they began to search the entire area. Closer to 9 o'clock in the evening, when it was already getting dark outside, and the search was not bringing any results, the father decided to contact the police. They immediately joined the search, and also recruited more volunteers from local residents. Lily's father insisted that the police issue an Amber Alert. This mass notification system is often used in cases of missing minors and allows information about a missing person to be conveyed to the majority of residents of a certain city or area in the shortest possible time. But in this case, the police said that Lily's disappearance did not meet the criteria for activating this system. To issue an Amber Alert, police must have evidence that a child is in danger. The girl's father was unhappy with the refusal, but he failed to convince the police. They continued their search, and officers soon found Lily's bike. It lay in the bushes of a small park next to a hiking trail. This find left little doubt that something terrible had happened to the girl. At the same time, the police began to wonder how he ended up there. The main route between Lily's and her aunt's houses was along the sidewalk along the roadway. She always went there. From my aunt's house, it was also possible to take the hiking trail where her bicycle was found, but this road was many times longer. Lily's father didn't understand why she chose this route, but one thing was clear. It was on this section of the path, which ran along a walking path along dense media trees, that something bad had happened. After the discovery of the bicycle, police deployed additional forces. They deployed their colleagues with search dogs and drones, and increased the overall number of officers involved in the search. They also went around the entire area and knocked on every door, hoping to get any useful information. Despite all this, they were unable to find Lily. The search continued throughout the night until police made alarming discoveries in the morning. At approximately 9 o'clock, they discovered the girl's body in the same park where her bicycle was lying. Lily was several tens of meters from that place and lay deep in the trees among the thickets, covered with leaves. Because of this, it was difficult to notice her even at close range, especially at night. The police immediately realized that they were dealing with a murder, but they had to wait for the expert opinion. In the meantime, they focused on finding the culprit, as well as ensuring the safety of other residents of the city. They set up patrols and sent officers to the elementary school where Lily attended. The management of the institution sent a message to all parents demanding that they accompany their children from door to door and not leave them for 1 second. Information about the murder instantly spread among the residents of the small town. Such crimes practically never happened there, so people were in panic. They understood that a dangerous monster was somewhere among them, and the police did not yet have the slightest idea who he could be. Throughout the day, the police department received numerous findings. Local residents reported any sightings that seemed suspicious to them. At the same time, investigators checked all residents of the district with a criminal record for violent acts. Tension among the city's residents continued to rise. This was due to uncertainty and fear for the safety of their children. The police made virtually no comments on the progress of the investigation, which is why various rumors began to circulate around the town. Someone said that she drowned in the river. Others claimed to know the killer's identity. All these numerous versions only increased the degree of nervousness, and people demanded that investigators solve this case as quickly as possible. The next day, April 26, the police obtained a search warrant for Aunt Lily's house and cordoned off the building. This move caused surprise among local residents, but the authorities still did not comment on their actions. People waited all day for some news until the police made the long-awaited announcement. The suspect in Lily's murder was arrested, but a very unexpected turn awaited everyone else. They declined to name the man because he was a minor and subject to privacy laws. However, they were unable to keep his identity secret for long. In such a small town, where people continuously monitored the progress of the investigation, information spread almost instantly, and soon everyone learned the shocking truth. The suspect in Lily's murder was her cousin, 14-year-old Carson Petersberger, the son of her aunt. Of course, this turn of events shocked everyone who followed this case. However, sometime later, people were in for an even greater shock as the police revealed the details of this arrest. It turned out that a tip helped them find Carson. Among the users of this resource, they discussed Lily's murder and shared their guesses. At some point, a message appeared there from a person who allegedly passed by that same park and saw there a girl with a bicycle, similar to Lily, in the company of a boy who was a little older than her. The author added that after news of the murder appeared, he immediately thought that the same guy was the killer. Another user who noticed this message decided to call the police and tell them about it. Almost immediately after this, detectives received another tip. Carson's grandmother shared a very disturbing story. According to her, the boy told his younger sister that it was he who killed Lily, and he did it with a grin on his face, as if he was bragging about it. After this, investigators came to talk with Carson, and during the conversation he unexpectedly admitted that he had left the house with Lily that evening. The boy invited her to go with him to the park and study the local flora. Finding themselves surrounded by trees where no one could see them, Carson took a large stick from the ground and struck his sister several times in the head. When she fell to the ground, the boy strangled her. After the girl stopped showing signs of life, Carson pulled down her pants and sexually abused the victim, and also bit her. After what he did, the brother ran home, took a shower, and washed all his clothes. A few hours later, when the adults went to look for Lily, he returned to her body and covered her with leaves. Carson also added another very creepy detail. He told police that he planned to kill and abuse his sister in advance, even before they left the house. His confession did not raise any doubts among investigators, since the teenager told details that were not disclosed even to the girl's father. She was found with her pants down and a bite mark on one of her buttocks. Soon after, a report from medical experts arrived, confirming Carson's testimony. The victim actually received several blows to the head and was strangled. Traces of abuse and biological samples of Carson were also found on her body, which once again proved his guilt. As a result, the boy was charged with murder, and almost immediately a decision was made to try him as an adult. Despite the age of 14, this was due to several factors, such as the extreme cruelty of the crime, the planning of the crime, and the age of the victim. After Carson appeared before a judge immediately following his arrest, His bail was set at $1 million. Considering that his family did not have such funds, he remained behind bars. Carson's grandmother tried to get her grandson's case taken to juvenile court. She wrote a letter to the judge saying that he was a good and kind boy who had made a mistake. However, her attempts came to nothing. For Lily's family, everything that happened became a real nightmare. In addition to the fact that the girl was brutally killed, their minor relative turned out to be the perpetrator. He bragged about what he had done to his younger sister and told the details of the murder to the police with a smile on his face. In addition, on the day the body was discovered, Lelia and her family organized a memorial ceremony. Carson was present, hugging his crying relatives and trying to console them. Speaking about the teenager's family, it is worth noting one fact that became widely known after his arrest. Carson lived with his mother and her partner, while his father Adam Berger lived in another city. The boy was very close to his father, but in 2016 the man was arrested for possession of illegal substances and perverted photographs with underage girls. At his home they found 10 photos in which the man described his dirty desires and thoughts. In 2018, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison, and after his release, he settled in a city neighboring his son. According to relatives, his father's arrest changed Carson beyond recognition. Before this, he seemed like an ordinary cheerful child, but after that he became withdrawn and angry. He began to hate his mother because he considered her to be to blame for what was happening, because she broke up with his father. While in prison, Adam tried to obtain permission to see his son without the supervision of his mother, which was required by law. But his request was rejected. The woman herself was against Carson seeing his father, and for this he hated her even more. However, the man was able to exchange emails with his son directly from prison, and they talked almost every day. When the boy spent time at his grandmother's house, she allowed him to call his father. At such moments, the child changed before our eyes and seemed happy again. As for his mother, she also had problems with Allah. The woman was tried for possession of illegal substances and assault on her previous ex-husband. In addition, after breaking up with Carson's father, she began dating a convicted con artist. And there's a lot of interesting stuff here, too. John lived in their home for many years and was the boy's stepfather. After this whole story was covered in the media, people paid attention to the man's social networks, and a lot of strange things awaited them there. John regularly posted pictures of serial killers, memes with children that had erotic overtones, and once he even wrote on his page, "I want to attack someone." Combined with his criminal past, this man did not have the best idea. At the same time, John was actually engaged in raising Carson together with his mother, who also had problems with Allah. A few months after Carson's arrest, another event occurred that caused a wave of outrage and put the whole case in jeopardy. While the young man continued to be in prison, active preparations for the trial were underway. At one of the hearings, his lawyer said that a video appeared on YouTube, which contained classified information from the case materials. It included audio recordings of police conversations, 911 calls, and various documents, as well as video recordings made by police officers. The lawyer said that all these materials were posted on the internet illegally and could compromise the course of the trial. The situation was complicated by the fact that the video managed to gain almost 1 million views. It is noteworthy that even the lawyer himself did not have access to some of these materials, and he did not know who posted this video. From the point of view of the law, such a situation could greatly affect the trial, up to the dismissal of some charges. Therefore, the judge was interested in this video. But according to the results of a check, it turned out that the lawyer was talking about an ordinary video, which contained information exclusively from open sources. After reviewing the video, the lawyer's claims were withdrawn because they were untrue. However, this whole story drew attention to the lawyer himself, and uncomfortable questions arose. It turned out that Carson's family hired a fairly highly paid lawyer to defend him. despite the fact that their official income was apparently not enough for this. Accordingly, the question arose of where the money for a lawyer's services comes from. However, the answer is still unknown. At the end of the summer of 2023, another hearing took place, at which the question was decided whether Carson should be tried as an adult. The hearing lasted for 3 days, and now the judge has to make a decision. He has several months to do this, and no decision has yet been made. Carson himself appeared at these hearings via video link from prison, but journalists were prohibited from filming or photographing the screen of his face due to his age. If the judge decides to send the case to juvenile court, Carson could actually avoid punishment. Such courts almost never impose prison sentences, instead sending children to treatment or rehabilitation. This process can only take a few years, after which they are released into the wild. If Carson is tried as an adult, he could receive up to life in prison. This is exactly what Lily's parents want. Given all the facts in this case, it is clear that Carson poses a serious threat to society, and taking his case to juvenile court would be highly ill-advised. The teenager planned in advance to kill his cousin and subjected her to violence. He carried out this plan in cold blood, which he later boasted of. The available evidence also leaves no doubt that it was he who committed the murder. Therefore, releasing such a person back into society is a dangerous decision.